right? So I have on the screen here a slogan that says what? Ready or not. All right? The time is coming where now you people are about to see what we've been prophesying about for many years, especially from the head apostles on down. All right? About this shift, about this financial shift, about the power structure shift. Everything is now coming to a head, man. And
All right, I'd like to start off by saying Barakatay Hawa, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rachakodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Laborers. And pretty much what you heard, or who you heard speaking, was Elder Adama from the Boston camp, GMS Boston. He did a lesson called Ready or Not. Things are about to change. His channel is GMS Hopeful Elect 444. I put this video in the description box. I watched the video a little while ago, and when he mentioned that, it put the thought in my mind of the laborers and pretty much the talent, or Salaki, the parable of the penny, because he said, things are starting to come to pass that we've been telling you for years, and he said beginning with the head apostles on down, and there are different times when these laborers will come in, and we're pretty much, you could say we're at the 11th hour now or so, roundabout there. So the last little bit, or the last bit, or the last of the laborers, are rolling in, and it's about to be over soon. So I want to start off with the book of Matthew, chapter 9, and I believe it starts at 36. Right, I'll start at 36. But when he saw the multitudes, he was moved with compassion on them, because they fainted and were scattered abroad as sheep having no shepherd. And pretty much the job of the shepherd is to feed the sheep, to guide the sheep in the proper direction. Then it says, then saith he unto his disciples, the harvest truly is plenteous. What is a harvest? A harvest is the end of, when you plant, you have the beginning of the planting, which you go through the process before you plant the seed. Then you plant the seed, cover it up, it gets watered, and eventually it gives fruit. But when the fruit starts first coming up, you don't pluck it. You have to wait till the fruit is ripe. And once the fruit is ripe, that's the harvest. You start plucking the fruit, putting them into baskets. So we're now at the end of the world, which is the harvest. And the harvest is truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. See? So there's not a whole lot of laborers, but nevertheless, the work still has to get done. It says, pray ye therefore the Lord of the harvest, that he will send forth laborers into his harvest. Yeah, because we're at the end. And remember, the nation of Israel is comparable to a vineyard. And in a vineyard, in anything, you're going to have good crop. You're going to have bad crop. You're going to have the good crop, the sweetest of the crop, the best of the crop. Then you're going to have some that is corrupt, some that is bad, some that goes bad. No, nevertheless, it's all a part of the harvest. All right. And that's what the Lord is doing right now. And eventually, the good crops, the good fruit that remains, he will bring into the basket. And the basket being, the chariots, at the end of this whole ordeal. Matthew chapter 20, verse 1, laborers in the vineyard. So whenever we read the scriptures, sometimes the scriptures, when it speaks about vineyards and it speaks about fruit, speaks about trees and valleys and peaks and, mountains and hills and things of that nature, is actually speaking about those things. But sometimes it's speaking spiritually. Now, in this case, this parable, which is a dark saying, is a parable using, the symbolism of a vineyard and the laborers in the vineyard, to gather the fruit once the fruit is ripe. And those laborers happen to be the prophets, Yahushua said, the harvest truly is plenteous, but the laborers are few. So Matthew 21, it says, For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. This householder is Yahushua. And he hired laborers because he gave the disciples, the go ahead to continue on the work that he started. And he commissioned them to go and to teach. And then they were to go out and gather more fruit. And in turn, they would gather fruit and they would gather fruit. And the purpose of the men of Israel coming into this truth is for them to become teachers. Like the Apostle Paul told Timothy, teach others that they may teach others also, in so many words. So the word for householder is, select, let me go back. I hit the wrong button. Householder. So the word for householder is oikodespotes. Oikodespotes, and the word oikos is house. So master of the house, householder. So you have oikos, which is house, and despotes, which is Lord, master. And this is where you get that word despot or despotic or something like that. I forget the terminology of it. Just bear with me 1 second. Just get the word. I forget, there's a term for it, despot or des something. And pretty much when you're in that case, pretty much a despot is a ruler. So oiko despotes is the ruler of the house, which is Yahushua under the Most High Yahweh. It says a ruler or other person who holds absolute power, typically one who exercises it in a cruel or oppressive way. In this case, it's not such, but you could say that to a certain degree, because those that don't do the will of the Father, he said what? Yahushua said what? Those that would not that I should rule over them, bring hither and slay them before me. So you could use that also, because when Yahushua comes back, he's going to be cruel. He's going to be merciful towards the elect, but he's also going to be cruel towards the rest. So despotes, oiko despotes, house, ruler or Lord, master. All right. So he hired laborers in the morning to go into his vineyard, the vineyard being the nation of Israel. You can read Isaiah, the 5th chapter, to get the understanding of that. And the laborers would be what? The prophets. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And as Elder Pastor just brought out recently, that a penny is not talking about an actual penny. It was talking about a day's wage. So, Yahushua was using the parable of the vineyard, the laborer, going out into the vineyard at different times of the day to receive a day's wage. Okay? It says, he sent them into his vineyard. Let's read that again. When he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. So what is that? These are prophets at the very first hour, of work, out there in the fields, plowing with the word, gathering the fruit of those Israelites out there that are part of the elect to come into this truth. But some are going to come into this thing that are not a part of the elect, and they're going to end up going right back out. It says, and he went out about the 3rd hour and saw others standing idle in the marketplace. Right. So this is after a certain period of time. You had, the prophets out there working in the vineyard, and you had some that wasn't doing anything, which was about 3 hours later, and the Lord called them into the work also. And he said unto them, go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, I will give you. And they went their way. Right. So here it is. You had those that came in the first hour. Then a few hours later, more laborers came into the vineyard. And these are the different levels. You had Eldar Bivens, which came in at the beginning. Then you had King Masha, High Priest Ariah, High Priest Yaiquab, the rest of the 7 on down. They came in about on the 3rd hour or so. Then you have some that came in even later than that, and some that's just now coming in, which you could say we're about at the 11th hour, right? And what that brings to mind, which I have the precept for it, is the book of St. John, chapter 4, and verse 34. And it says, Yahushua saith unto them, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. So, because the point is there's a job to do. There's a beginning of the job. There's an ending of a job. The scriptures say better is the ending of a thing than the beginning. So the point is to come into the knowledge, into the truth, right? And to finish that work. Give diligence to make that calling and election sure. Matthew 24:13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved, right? Because when you go to work, work isn't the most pleasant thing. Otherwise, it wouldn't be called work. It's not called entertainment. It's not called joy. It's called work. So that's why it says, he that shall endure to the end, the same shall be saved, meaning endure this truth and the things that come with it. All right? Going back to St. John 4, Yahushua said unto them, my meat is to do the will of him that sent me and to finish his work. Bring it to the end, meaning bring it to its perfection. Because once the finish line is crossed, then that's the ending of it. That's the perfection or the finishing of the work. That's when the work is done, not before, only after. Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest, right? Because some individuals, what they do is they think they slicker than the Most High, and they don't see certain things happening, so they kind of fall back, kind of looking, might do the bare minimal, they're lukewarm, but then every once in a while they'll do a little something, to get to get the overseers over them or the men that's over them off their back, so to speak, thinking they're slick. But then when they start seeing things really ramping up, then they'll act like they was diligent the whole time, And this is not just for Great Millstone, that's for all them different camps out there. You see the sliding into place of these demons out here that, say that this ain't going to happen, that ain't going to happen. But then all of a sudden, when they see stuff ramping up, all of a sudden they slide in and say, well, I never said it wasn't going to happen. I just said it wasn't the time back then. Fucking liars. Say not ye, there are yet 4 months, and then cometh harvest. Behold, I say unto you, lift up your eyes and look on the fields, for they are white already to harvest. Right. So they're ripe, ready for the harvest, ready to be gathered. And that's what the Lord is doing right now. He's gathering the elect by his word, sifting throughout all the 4 corners of the earth, bringing in brothers that look like Edomites, that look like Hamites, that look like Moabites, that look like Filipinos, that look like all different nations on the planet earth, including the ones that look like your regular typical Israelites from among these nations. And that's what we're witnessing right now. And he that reapeth receiveth wages. So if you don't reap, if you don't work, you don't receive wages. Let's go to Galatians 6:6. I'm sorry, start at 7. I'll start at 6. Let him that is taught in the word communicate unto him that teacheth in all good things. Be not deceived, the Most High is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. And that is a broad spectrum. It's talking about if you do wrong, you're going to receive wrong. If you do the minimal, you're going to receive the minimal. He that soweth sparingly shall of the Lord reap sparingly. And in this case, we're using it as far as the laborers in the vineyard. Some guys got their hands in their pockets. Some guys got their thumb up their ass. Some brothers got their finger in their mouth, sucking on their finger, on the thumb. Some guys are just, roaming aimlessly. Some brothers are digging in deep, digging, and then the more they see the things happen, the harder they working, carrying the burdens, bearing the burdens, sweat of the day. It says, for he that soweth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. Yeah, because if you're sowing to the flesh, that means that you're not seeing the kingdom coming. You're looking to the here and now. You're looking to, progress and do well in this kingdom. You're putting off the day of the Lord because you don't see the kingdom coming, because you're not watching, you're not studying, you're not involved, you're not really doing your lessons. You're just doing just the bare minimal. It says, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Why? Because he sees, he's involved, he's digging in, he's in the trenches, he's moving that plow. He's removing the weeds and the thorns and and the stones that are the stumbling blocks that are in the way of progress, casting down those imaginations, because he sees the kingdom, he sees the finish line. He's watching, he's vigilant, and he's diligent. And let us not be weary in well doing. Let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. All right, let's go to the word weary. And be not weary. The word for weary, ekkaeho. To be utterly spiritless, right? To be wearied out, exhausted, right? Let's not be weary, exhausted. Yeah, it's taken a while, but it's here, And remember, the laborers that came in at the first hour are going to be more exhausted than the ones that came in at the last couple of hours, or even at the last hour. So if anybody should be tired and worn out and weary, it should be the ones that came in the first hour. You see? So let's go back. It says, and let us not be weary in well doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not. As we have therefore opportunity, because there's opportunity, because scripture say, seek ye the Lord while he may be found. There's no greater opportunity than right now. But you're going to still have those that's going to keep putting it off until they see shit really, really ramping up. Then they're going to want to get involved. And then that's when they're going to try to get involved. And then shit ain't going to work properly. Because they think that the Lord don't see them. Just because man ain't looking don't mean the Lord ain't seeing you. You're going to try to get involved, and then the Lord's just going to zap you. So this is the time. As we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. And how do we do good? By teaching his word. Because this word is a constant nourishment. When we're feeling down and out, when we're feeling exhausted spiritually, when we're feeling like our world is crumbling around us and then we're finished and our bodies are giving out on us, or whatever the case may be, this is the refresher. This is what gives us the energy to continue on. This is what gives us that inspiration. This is the spiritual Red Bull. Them energy drinks. This is the real energy drink. The spirit. So it says, as we have therefore opportunity, let us do good unto all men, especially unto them who are of the household of faith. Going back to St. John 4:36, and he that reapeth receiveth wages. So if you reap, if you get involved, if you work, you're going to receive wages. You're going to receive compensation. You're going to receive, payment. Let's go to, matter of fact, let me leave that just in case. Let's go to Hebrews 6 and 10. This is one of my favorite scriptures. I'll start at 9. But beloved, we are persuaded better things of you. Right, because when you read up above, it talks about those that had given up, that have turned their back on the Lord. And the Lord said that if you put your plow down, you're not fit for the kingdom of heaven. The Lord ain't looking for no rusty plow swingers. You know, that plow got to be moving constantly. But beloved, we are persuaded better things of you and things that accompany salvation. Though we thus speak, right? Although we, you hear the apostles and the elder bishops and other brothers speak about the fallouts and the lukewarm individuals and the guys that's bullshitting, shucking and jiving, hanging out, at the corner, so to speak, not doing nothing, idle in the marketplace. Though we speak like that, we are persuaded better things of you, because you received this word. We didn't give you this word. Just like the men that were before us didn't give us this word. The Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai gave us this word. He entrusted us with this word. Let's go to 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse 4. It says, for the Most High who commanded the, this ain't it. 4 and 7. Matter of fact, I started 6. For the Most High who commanded the light to shine out of darkness hath shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of the Most High in the face of Yahushai. We are the physical representation of Yahushai on the earth. Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai on the earth. Because the Lord shined his light upon us. He made us to see. He removed those obstacles, those stumbling blocks, that opaque, that darkness, that dimness. He removed that out of the way so that we can see clearly. Now that the rain is gone. Inside joke. It says, but we have this treasure. This is a treasure. This is gold. This is silver. These are precious stones. This is the greatest treasure you shall ever have. That's what the Lord said. Don't store for yourself treasures on earth, where moth and rust does corrupt and where thieves come through and break through and steal. Because if you're doing that, that means you don't believe in this. And you're not looking for the kingdom. You're looking for the long haul here. But he said, but store for yourselves treasures up in heaven where neither moth nor rust does corrupt and where thieves do not come through and steal. Because no one can take your joy. Not even Satan. Not even Satan can steal your joy. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels. You understand that? These corrupt, decrepit, broken down bodies, the Lord gave us that treasure in these bodies. He entrusted us with his money. He took a gamble on us, so to speak. But he also gave us the mineral to do what is required of the Lord. So that when he comes back, he will find favor in those that he put his spirit in. That the excellency of the power may be of the Most High and not of us. Why? Because he gave it to us. He entrusted us with us. He entrusted it to us. Gave us the inspiration, the will, the ability to do this work. So going back to Hebrews 6 and 10. Matter of fact, let me read 9 again because this is so sweet. But beloved, we are persuaded better things of you and things that accompany salvation, though we thus speak. For the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work, labor, wages, reward. See? For the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love, which you have showed toward his name, and that you have ministered to the saints and do minister. And it says, and we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. Why? Because he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. What is the wage that we're going to receive? It's not money. It's not FRNs. It's not quarters and dimes and nickels. The Lord ain't going to give us a physical check for us to go to a physical cashing place and cash the check. The reward is salvation. That is that penny. That's the payoff. That's the reward. That's the prize. That ye be not slothful. Why? Because there's plenty of work to do. The harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. But followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. We got Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, Joseph, and all of our forefathers, all the way up until today. Elder Albert Bivens and King Mashah, who died in the truth. Elder High Priest Yaquab, who died in the truth. These are examples of men that started their course and finished their course. All right, so now let's go back to St. John 4:36. And he that reapeth work, labor, receiveth wages, payment, reward, prize. Let's see what the word wages here is. Hey, we could rest in the kingdom, man. Because we're not going to rest here. Even though you might get a good night's rest and you might feel refreshed somewhat next day, this is still not our rest. The word there is misthos. Dues paid for work. The Lord is not unrighteous to forget our deeds and our work and labor of love. And he will pay us the wages he promised. Which is what? Salvation. Because the wages of sin is death. It says wages, higher reward, used of the fruit naturally resulting from toils and endeavors. In both senses, rewards and punishments. Because he that reapeth to his flesh shall of the flesh reap corruption. He that reapeth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. Rewards, punishments. Of the rewards which the Most High bestows or will bestow upon good deeds and endeavors of punishments. So let's read this again. And he that reapeth receiveth wages and gathereth fruit unto eternal life, and that both he that soweth and he that reapeth may rejoice together, because we're working together. Every man doesn't have the same job. Every man doesn't have the same amount of workload upon them. But whatever your workload is, guess what? That's helping the next brother when you carry your weight. Slacking off puts more work on other brothers. When you're involved and you do the best that you can with whatever the Lord gave you, you're helping to carry the load that the Lord gave you. And not just leaving it to somebody else to carry for you while they're carrying their load. And herein is that saying true: one soweth and another reapeth. I sent you to reap that wherein you bestow no labor. And this is one of the, besides that, the parable which we're reading, this is one of the other scriptures that came into mind when he said that. Because, we're pretty much carrying on the legacy that others laid down. They put in the labors. There's certain things we didn't have to labor for. All we had to do was learn. And then we labor, to learn certain other things, pass it on, so on and so forth. I sent you to reap that wherein you bestow no labor. Other men labored, and you are entered into their labors. So we have entered into those labors. And the labors that we've entered into came from men that were diligent in the truth, in the scriptures, teaching, showing that fervency, that diligence, not slacking. So going back to the parable, Matthew 20:4, and he said unto them, go ye also into the vineyard. This is the ones that came in the third hour. And whatsoever is right, I will give you. And they went their way, right? Because what is right? The penny, the reward, the wage, which is the kingdom of heaven. Again, he went out about the 6th hour and 9th hour and did likewise. So you have different brothers coming in at different times. And now you're seeing things happening now that were being spoken of way back during the 1st hour. which some of those men didn't see. But now we're seeing the fruits of that now. So brothers came in different times and are entering into labors of others, but they're put in that position because that's where the Lord wants them at. And they took the money that was given to them and they are spending it. They took the workload that's given to them and they're carrying that workload. It says, and about the 11th hour he went out and found others standing idle, and saith unto them, Why stand ye here all the day idle? They say unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He saith unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, that shall you receive. Because at the end of the day, whether you came in at the first hour, the third hour, the 6th hour, the 9th hour, the 11th hour, at the very last minute, the wage is still the same. Salvation, 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 which is that penny. And that penny is a day's wage. And a day's wage for doing this work is salvation. It says, So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward, Call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first, because the last shall be first, and the first shall be last, right? So he started with those that came in at the 11th hour. And then so on, if 9th hour, 6th hour, 3rd hour. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. Salvation. But when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more. And they likewise received every man a penny. And when they had received it, they murmured against the good men of the house, saying, These last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden and heat of the day? But he answered one of them and said, Friend, I do thee no wrong. Didst thou not agree with me for a penny? See, that's why it's important to understand what we're involved in. No matter what time brother came in, we all working for the same thing. And the ones that came in before, the ones that came in at the end, are going to receive the same reward. There ain't nothing extra. And the reward that we're going to receive, that penny, is a great thing, because the Lord said that at the Most High's right hand are pleasures evermore. So it says, Take that thine is and go thy way. I will give unto this last, even as unto thee. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with mine own? Is thine eye evil because I am good? So the last shall be first, and the first shall be last, for many be called, but few chosen. And that's why the Apostle Peter said, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. We've been called to this as laborers. There's no doubt about that. Now we're giving diligence and hoping that we are part of the elect. When we make it, then we know for sure. Until then, we don't know. So we give the diligence through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and the inspiration that keeps driving us until that day. So with that, I pray that you brothers and your few sisters have been edified. Till the next time I say, Shalom.